Hey Browns fans, it's time to gear up for a pain-free 2022 NFL season for your Cleveland Browns with new friends of the show, Buckeye Law Group. If you've been injured in a car accident, a slip and fall, a work accident, or even if you've been buried into the ground by Myles Garrett or stiff-armed by Nick Chubb, you need to call Buckeye Law Group today at 1-800-411-PAIN. Their attorneys will fight for the money you deserve. Buckeye Law Group's attorneys have recovered over $1 billion for their clients throughout the entire country. So don't make the mistake of calling just any other attorney. Call attorneys you can trust, and best of all, they're Browns fans just like you. Call our friends from Buckeye Law Group at 1-800-411-PAIN. After 911, call 411. That's 1-800-411-PAIN. 1-800-411-7246. That's Buckeye Law Group, located at 1300 East 9th Street, Suite 1210 in Cleveland, Ohio. Buckeye Law Group, proud fans of the Cleveland Browns just like you.
Welcome to the Dawgs Podcast with your hosts, Blake Reneker, Justin Charles, John Nutt, Josh.
Hey, what's up, Browns fans? Welcome to another episode of the Dawgs Podcast, special holiday edition, coming to you guys live on YouTube in between Christmas and New Year's. As you can see, Justin Charles not able to make it tonight. We were able to call in a special guest, Kenny Mack, coming from Ottawa, Canada, president of the Browns Backers up there. So we're super pumped to have him back on an episode with us. Unfortunately, it's to talk about a terrible Browns loss. It's a loss to the Saints, 17-10. Officially eliminated the Browns from playoff contention. Before we get into all the disgusting details of the game, I want to remind you guys to check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. If you're watching right now on YouTube and you haven't subscribed, please make sure you do. That helps us out a lot. Make sure you tap the notification bell so you never miss a new episode. If you want to just listen to the podcast, you can find us on Apple, Spotify, and Google. Lastly, if you're looking for more Dawgs content, head to jointhedawgs.com, become an official Dog Pack member on the Patreon page. We are in championship week for the fantasy leagues, so we have 4 leagues heading into their championship weeks. We also have a tournament of champions going on there to give away even more merch. We do Dog Pack member of the month where we give Dogs merch away. You get an extra episode every week. There's a lot of cool stuff in there. Kenny Mack's a part of it. I actually think John Nye is still a Patreon member, even though he's on the show now. That's how much he loves being a part of it. So it's just a good time for everybody. You get access to the private Discord, which has been a ton of fun for everybody else in there. So if you're looking for that, join us, jointhedawgs.com, become an official Dog Pack member. Phil Davis asked if I have that memorized yet. I think this is 150th episode or something. So
167.
167. I've adjusted it a little bit since the beginning, but yes, I have it down pretty well. I don't even have to read it anymore. So we want to thank everybody for jumping in here with us. Hopefully we get a bunch of people to join. It's always a lot of fun when we get fan interaction. Unfortunately, the Browns, they did what they do. They a week after giving us some hope with beating a Ravens team, a tough, gritty win over a in-division rival, and then somebody at Josh's house is causing.
Yep, sorry, I'm gonna mute my mic real quick. You guys go.
It's okay. We're doing this live, so things happen. I have a baby upstairs; she could start crying at any minute, so things happen. But they just Browns. So then what they do, they give us hope, and then they come out and they lay an egg at home against a team that plays in a dome. We're supposed to, we're going to get into is it home field advantage really for the Browns and all that good stuff. But I think the first thing we need to talk about, which is kind of a small story, Myles Garrett didn't start for the Browns on defense. He sat out the first series. Stefanski called it a team thing, I think, at first. And then it came out, I saw it reported he was sick and he didn't properly disclose his illness or something like that. So because of that, he missed practice and they didn't know he was going to miss practice. And so they ended up sitting him. And I think Stefanski's got a lot of backlash for not starting him. And it's like these are the same people who are saying Stefanski doesn't have control of the team. Everybody's just running amok. There's no accountability. And then as soon as he holds somebody accountable, everybody's trying to throw Stefanski under the bus for doing just what they're always preaching him to do. And the way I look at it, it didn't matter who you are for 20 years in New England. If you violated a team rule, you got benched. It didn't matter if your name was Tom Brady, Willie McGinnis. It didn't matter what your name was. If you broke a team rule, and they called it the Patriot way, and we all, applauded them for 20 years about the way they did it. I forget what the running back was for New England, but he came out and rushed, I think, like 200 yards and 4 touchdowns, and then the rest of the year got the ball 10 times because he was late to a team meeting like the next week. And we were all like, look at him, he's a master. Well, Stefanski tries to hold a player accountable, and people are giving him crap for it. What do you guys think?
Well, I mean, everybody wants it from Stefanski there, but here's the main thing. Myles Garrett was benched. It didn't matter. Our defense was terrible, and it looked exactly like when we played the Atlanta Falcons. Davion didn't play in that one. We got pushed around. For some reason, too, our linebackers were way, way back. I'm glad that Stefanski, if it was a discipline issue, held them back. But for the one series, it didn't matter. We couldn't stop anything.
What's sad is you knew coming into this game they're a dome team. I mean, they didn't have Jarvis Landry. They didn't have Chris Olave. They didn't have – all they had was Kamara and Taysom Hill and Andy Dalton. And so we knew they were going to just have to run the ball. And it's like I went back and watched some of the game today. I did not see us stacking the box very often. Even the announcer was like, at some point, Joe Woods has got to bring everybody up and force Andy Dalton to try to beat you over the top in 20, 30 mile per hour winds. And we just didn't do it. And I don't know how many times.
Yeah, their linebackers were stacking up the box large, like maybe 2 yards from the line of scrimmage. We were at least 4. When Taysom Hill got into the game, he ran amok. We did nothing to stop that. And we knew that was the one way that they were going to win. If it would have just been Kamara and it would have just been Dalton, we would have maybe eked that out 13-10. But they just went on that one run. We were up 10-0, and then they scored 17 straight points, and we had no answer. And it seems unfathomable that you can't figure that out with just 3 guys to worry about.
Well, we heard last week, or after we played the Bengals, and 2 of their top 3 receivers went out. We heard Coach Howard come out and talk about how it was a difficult adjustment to play them without their good players. And I thought that was an insane answer to put out into the media. And then so I'm not surprised that we're unable to adjust in game or have a game plan ready on the defensive side. If the announcers are calling you out for not being creative and not adjusting to what the game is dictating, what are you doing? I don't understand. And I don't know why on third down, how many times is 3rd and long and we're just playing the softest coverage ever? Did we just give them free releases off the line? 3rd and 8 might as well be 3rd and 2 for people who play against the Browns. It is unbelievable.
You know what the joke is with my Browns backers group? I'd rather be in 3rd and 2 than 3rd and 17. Because 3rd and 17 with this freaking team. For whatever reason, we play the softest thing, the softest zone. And you know what happens with 3rd and 17? We throw the other team throws a pass to the flats, and they catch it, 5 yards into the flat, and they run it the next 12 yards. And did you see John Johnson miss that tackle? It was a 3rd and 17. I'm sure it was a 5-yard out into the flats, and the guy ran 12 yards down, first down. It's the same thing. It's the definition of insanity.
We've been watching, and here's the thing. People are saying, well, you can't – how are you going to hold Joe Woods accountable? We give him crap linebackers and no defensive tackles. We can still be upset about play calling and philosophy. Like, if you know you don't have the players to do exactly what you want to do, you have to adjust. And I don't know how many times they'll have a penalty or we'll actually get a sack or something on first down, and it's 2nd and 17, 2nd and 20, and I just know they're going to get the first down because on 2nd down or 3rd down, they're going to pick up 10 to 12, and then on 3rd down, they'll get like 4 or 5, and next thing you know, it'll be 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2. We give up so many chunk plays because of our soft coverage. It is unbelievable that we're still watching it. And a lot of talk about Stefanski's job security and whatnot. I think Stefanski's back no matter what, but I think that he has to stop and look and do a lot of self-evaluation. There's got to be big changes on that coaching staff. Like, anybody who has anything to do with the defense or the special teams should basically be taking a hike, because it is just, it's terrible.
I 100% agree. I mean, how many times have we called up, even myself, like leaving questions on the show? Hey guys, tired of losing. Don't like the tackling. Where's their defensive line? What are they doing? Getting pushed off. It's the same thing over and over again. And like Jimmy Haslam's got to be tired of just going to the game. They had to all freeze their butts off like all the other fans down there and watch that poor ass show, right? A showing. And then, I shouldn't say that. But anyways, you know what I'm getting at, right? And then we all sold ourselves on this team, right? Like, we all went into the season, we all watched the preseason games going, man, we really get blown off the line of scrimmage. Nothing's changed the entire year. The other thing is, well, who's going to catch the ball other than Njoku and Cooper? Nobody, still nobody. And we're going to go into next week against the Commanders with nobody. You know what I mean? So there's got to be major changes. And we've seen Prefer for the last 3 years have 3 different kickers that all kick the same crap. Wide, right, wherever. Like, it drives me crazy. I'm tired of watching it.
Yeah, well, Blake's brought up the kicker thing. Let's give this guy a couple years. I don't want to see us miss a playoff shot next year because a bunch of missed field goals. But I also don't want to get rid of our kicker after 1 year and then go see him be the next Justin Tucker for the Steelers or something.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, I don't mean get rid of the kicker. I mean, let's coach him up right.
Okay, yeah, you're 100% right there, though. I definitely think coaching it's got to be somewhat of an issue. He doesn't look, as poised as he should, and he's made some really, really bad kicks. And you do have to blame execution. You can't blame every poor play on coaching. A lot of it is execution, but a lot of it is coaching too. And I'm going to predict Cade York to be the Browns kicker for the next several seasons, and a good one at that. I hope I'm right.
My problem, not necessarily even with the missed kicks, because Mike Prefer doesn't kick the ball. I mean, I would like to see some guidance, like, hey, like, let's coach him up a little bit. But to me, it's not. It's the mental errors on special teams too, like bringing the ball out from 10 yards deep in the end zone and getting tackled inside the 10 and having to go 90 yards. It's, not covering the ball on an onside kick. It's all this stupid stuff. And it's like that is coaching, because if the players are constantly making mental mistakes like that, it's obviously not being hammered home enough in practice. Yeah, and then if not, then they're not being held accountable enough.
Yeah, I mean, look at our fullback. He got a ball kicked off him last year, or whenever the last time we had a fullback. And that was another onside gaff. Like, when do you guys ever remember in the last 3 years that we ever executed an onside kick like we should have? It is like the most stressful thing being a Browns fan, with either a kick, like just a simple PAT, or trying to get an onside kick. Like a guy that is on the hands team to fall on a kick is stressful, man. And it shouldn't be that way. That they've done it for like at least 10 years in their life at some point from playing from like Pee Wee leagues,
Yep. So then another thing I want to talk about is a lot of people were discussing the play calling in this game. Weird thing, we did run the ball with Chubb more than 20 times. I thought that was a guaranteed win, but apparently not. Chubb did have 24 carries. I think we actually ran the ball more than we threw it. I think the issue is, and I'm going to be completely honest, I didn't feel that good on Christmas Eve, and this game was so bad to watch, and I was getting so irritated. I just went to bed at the start of the fourth quarter, and I had to go back and watch the fourth. I just knew we were going to lose. I could just tell watching this was over already. We weren't going to win this game, so I went to bed, which is embarrassing to say. But so Nick Chubb, 24 carries, 92 yards. I think that what people are screaming about is the situational play calling. Like, I know it was about midway through the fourth quarter. It was we had a 3rd and 2, and we threw a play action pass, and then we went forward on 4th down and just ran a straight drop back pass. Deshaun overthrew DPJ by about 5 yards, and we turned it over on downs. And it's one of those things. It's like, I'm not one of these people who screams just run the ball. I think there's context to all that in the the game. But if you know you're going to go forward on 4th down, and you know you're in 2-down territory, why not give it to Chubb one of the times? Obviously on 4th and 2, I'm probably putting it in Deshaun's hands on letting him making a play somehow. But if you know you're going to go for it on 4th, you have the best running back in football. Why not give him the shot? Especially because I'm watching the 4th quarter and Chubb's ripping off 7 to 10 yard runs regularly. So I thought Stefanski called a great game against Baltimore, and then he bounced back this week with one of his games where it seemed like he was trying to outsmart himself at times because Chubb was ripping off runs. It's 3rd and 2.
I thought it was
– just go for it. Go ahead.
I thought it was like, what did you guys think? I thought there was a lot more sweeps than needed to be. I thought, like, if you got Poshik back, and you got Teller and you got Antonio, just run maybe off tackle, but just stick it in the 2 A gaps and just run and run and run. And I think that's what the Saints did. I mean, I'd have to watch the game again, but they just kept pounding it up the middle and just little short dump passes. I think all we had to do was match that with that long pass over DPJ. I think Watson had the wind in his back. I think he just didn't realize how it would sail on that. And I just want to get your guys' thoughts on the last possessions of the game, the last 3 possessions. So I think we were on the 25-yard line or the 20, or maybe just in the red zone, and we kept just passing it. I really wanted to see us run. I thought they were worn down. I thought we could have run it. I thought we had enough time, and or maybe not to the end zone every single time. What did you guys think?
What part of the game was that again? I'm sorry, I was reading our comments and I got sidetracked. That's my fault.
Yeah, no problem. Just basically the last 4 games. Like, the game was on the line. We could have won it. And Njoku did drop a game-winning pass. But it was all passes all the way through. I thought we could have run it. I thought we could have softened them up, got closer, and we didn't have to pass it as far. I don't recall what yard line we were on at the last 4 passes.
I know coming up to this game, Posick was back this game, and I thought the line played better. But leading up to this, the last 4 weeks, I've almost been anti the Browns running the ball because the offensive line was playing so bad. It almost seemed like anytime the Browns ran the ball, it was a negative play, 0 to negative yards, and it was just driving me crazy. I know the last couple plays of the game, we were at the 12 or 15-yard line, according to the comments. And what sucks is DPJ, it would have been a tough catch, but we've seen him make that catch. That's a touchdown catch to tie it up. And then Njoku straight drops one. And then you'd love to see Deshaun not take a sack on. It's 4th in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Throw it. Don't take the sack, please. Do something. I'm going to be 100% honest. I thought he looked cold. And obviously he was. But the ball didn't seem to come out of his hand that well.
Yeah, all the passes that dropped there are too full. They're too cold, you know?
Yeah, I know the weather was a big deal in this game, but the catch of DPJ that he dropped, that's a catch that you see them show highlights of all these other games of, players making these big time plays. So you'd like to see that. And then there was also the 3rd touchdown dropped earlier in the game, Amari Cooper, wide open, sliding in the end zone. I mean, it was a great pass, hit him right in the hands. It just was not caught.
There were 3 potential touchdown passes, and we didn't catch any of them. Right. And I didn't think Deshaun, this was the first week I didn't think he took a noticeable leap. But then again, it was negative 50 degrees.
Yeah, when you look at Dalton's line of 8 completions, it was a tough game to pass.
Yes. Man. So that was to be expected. It was good to see him run a touchdown, not get touched. Yes. He looked fast. But I went back and watched the 4th quarter today. On that final drive, the potential game-winning drive, Deshaun Watson hit some huge throws. Especially it was 2nd and 3rd and long. mean, there were times we were 3rd and 8+, and he hit some big time throws on that drive, and then he put the ball on the money twice on a game winning drive, and his receivers let him down. So his stat line was obviously not great. I don't think anybody was going to have a great stat line, but I thought again, I thought he played well enough to win the game, especially at the end down the stretch.
He didn't have any poor throws. The interception was off somebody's hand. I thought the reads that he made were really good. Amari Cooper left 4 points, like 6 points for him, but he left 4 points out there because he dropped the pass, so we had to settle for a field goal. Now, if we were driving down and we were on the 15-yard line, we could have tied that game up at 17 if it was 17-14, right?
I did this.
So that it really hurt. Like those.
I went through these stats the other game, and I thought it was interesting, so I wanted to do it again. We had 15 first downs. They had 14 first downs. We were 7 of 16 on 3rd down. They were 7 of 15. We ran 67 plays. They ran 54. We had more total yards. We had more passing yards. They outrushed us by 30 yards, 152 to 124. They had 2 penalties for 15 yards. We only had 4 penalties for 45 yards, and we had a minute more in time of possession, and we lost. This is the second time in our last 2 losses where if you just pulled up the box score, you'd think the Browns won. And the problem is I want to go back and do a little bit of research, but 16 third downs in the game. And I feel like the Browns live in 3rd down. We hit so many 3rd downs. We are not very good on 1st and 2nd down, it seems, especially 2nd down. We'll get 7 yards on 1st down, and then we'll lose 2 yards on 2nd down, it seems, regularly. And it leaves us in 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7 all the time, and then we're under 50% conversion rate. And I want to go back like the last month to see what it is, but it's so then I'm thinking, how are we beating these teams in all these statistical categories but not scoring any points? And I come to the realization we're not hitting. Since we got Deshaun, there's no explosive plays. It is very hard to go 9, 10, 11, 12 play drives against NFL defenses every single time you have the ball. It is hard to sustain that long of drives. Ever since we got Deshaun, we thought we were going to see the run game open up and we were going to start hitting some bigger plays in the pass game. And it's almost becoming more of a struggle in offense in terms of the big play. You're not going to go 12 plays every time. That's why we'll start a drive and it's like, holy crap, we just had 4 or 5 good plays in a row, and then it sputters out. One of those 5 plays needs to be like a 25-yard gain. We can't go – you're not going to go 4 yards, 4 yards, 4 yards, and go 90 yards every time like that. It's just not going to happen. You might do it once or twice. Well, there's our 10 to 14 points. We have to start getting some down-the-field plays or the offense is going to continue to struggle.
Man, I miss a big Nick Chubb run over 20 yards. I can't remember the last time we've seen one. The defense, the Ravens aren't slouches either. Maybe it's the last 2 defenses we've seen very many big plays. But at the end of the day, it's got to happen because those teams can do it. They'll figure it out. We need to, and I'm just hoping that we beat the Commanders next week because I'm getting a lot of chirping in the comments because a lot of my ex-family members are on there from my ex-wife's family, and they're chirping the Commanders right now, or they're chirping the Browns. They want the Commanders to win. I see it, guys. We're gonna beat you.
I like how confident you are. I'm not as confident right now.
I was wondering what those comments were.
Go ahead, John.
Yeah.
No. Just that's all I had to say.
But no, so Josh, you said we had a couple of voicemails. Do you want to get to those?
Yeah, let me play the first one. Here's from Phil.
Hey guys, it's Phil. Well, that was a pretty terrible Christmas gift yesterday. Offensive line still looks bad. even with Posick back, they didn't get a lot of push during the run game. I don't know, Chubb got stuffed so many times, probably at least 10 times. He had some good runs, but just not consistent enough at all. I don't know why we were throwing deep passes in frigid weather. I don't think he hit any of them. It was just a frustrating game. I'm just have no faith in our coaching staff anymore. And, of course, we give $60 million to a right tackle who hasn't stayed healthy or even played that well in the last 2 years. And, of course, he had 2 penalties yesterday. And I don't know, man. We're eliminated now officially, so I guess we'll see what they do in the offseason. That's kind of where I'm at. Let me know what you guys think about the signing of Conklin. There we go. And we will see what happens in the offseason.
So that was Phil. He's actually a recent Dog Pack Member of the Month, so always good to get his voicemails on the show. What'd you guys think of the Conklin signing? Were you guys a little bit surprised?
I put it out in our Dog Pack that I was super surprised, and I thought maybe Hudson was playing a little bit better. That being said, maybe they signed him. I don't know what the right tackle free agency market is, and I don't know who's coming out of the draft to replace him. So maybe Hudson's going to get moved over to left tackle. Maybe there's going to be some shakeups there. I'm not 100% sure, but I was surprised.
What were you going to say, John? Go ahead.
Well, we had just heard per Mary Kay that Conklin was planning on finishing up his career, or at least playing an extensive amount of his career in Cleveland. So if it weren't for that report, I would have been a little bit more surprised, but I kind of saw that coming. So with that said, I wasn't overly surprised. He's really serviceable. I think we've been a little bit upset with most of our offensive linemen the last maybe season and a half, because we went from having stacked offensive line, pretty much the best in the league, to subpar at best. So I'm happy for him. He got his money, so let's just hope he brings it.
The way I look at this, go ahead, John.
I was just going to say, I just brought up real quick, because you mentioned the free agent, right tackle market in the offseason, and based on the quick list on track here, it's not great. So I bet that had something to do with it too.
100%.
So the way I look at it is, I don't necessarily care about the money that much because it's not mine. And they Andrew Berry will just finagle the salary cap anyways. You know what I mean? So in terms of money and free agents or whatever, I'm not necessarily concerned about that. I think I saw a thing earlier today that said if the Browns restructure Amari Cooper, Deshaun Watson, and somebody else's contract, they can free up over $60 million for next year. So the salary cap is essentially a myth. You might have to pay it eventually, but man, you can kick that can down the road a very long time if you're good at your job, and Andrew Berry's good at that.
Kick it down the road until you win a Super Bowl, then start paying off money.
And then rebuild.
Look at the 2016 Cavaliers.
Yep. So I'm not concerned about the money part. And then, like somebody said here, it came down to either pay him, downgrade, or pay someone else even more. And I think this tells you that they think his play has been more injury related and not necessarily his skill diminishing. And they see him every single day. Bill Callahan sees him every day. So if they thought he was worth the money in terms of talent-wise, and only 2 years is guaranteed. So it's not like we're stuck with him for the whole contract. It's essentially a 2-year deal. So I think there's way worse right tackles in the game, and the Browns weren't going to go get a top 5 right tackle. So I think is a decent idea. I think it's more interesting to see what we do at center and left tackle going into this offseason. I think Posick might have played so well, he might have priced himself out. We'll see if the Browns can re-sign him. And then I think it'll be interesting to see if the Browns pick up the option for Jed Wills. He's just so up and down, and so much of it seems like effort. I don't know if he's confused. Sometimes if you don't know what you're doing, it can look like lack of effort because you get caught standing around because you're not 100% sure what you're supposed to be doing. But, man, so much of his problems seem like effort, and you can't coach effort. You either got it or you don't. So I think he either needs to go or they need to at least bring in competition and tell him, listen, this isn't your job. You got to, this is a competition in camp, and you're going to have to earn this job if you want it. And then see if he's got that dog in him to go out there and beat somebody out for the job, because we drafted him and then gave him the job, and he's never had to fight for it. It was just given to him. So maybe he needs to work for it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean,
go ahead.
I was just saying that the whole idea of him, maybe not knowing what he's doing, and that's why it doesn't look like he's given effort. I don't know how much of that I agree with, because you look at the rest of the offensive line and what Callahan's been able to do with a guy like Wyatt Teller and the evolution of him and Posick this year, stepping in and playing, like you just said, maybe playing himself out of what we can afford and all this kind of stuff. And then you see Wills out there, and it's like, why is this one guy not getting it? It'd be like on the defensive side, if only one of the DBs was standing around looking like they were confused, you say, well, maybe it's him, but it's all of them. So it's the scheme. Whereas on the offensive line, it's just Jed.
Did Hudson play left tackle at Cincinnati, or he was just strictly right? Went from defensive tackle to right tackle?
I believe so.
Okay.
He was playing well, though. And the thing I like about Hudson is he's got a little bit of nasty in him.
Well, he was a defensive tackle. He's got that, that kind of dog fight in him.
So I'd like to see him get some playing time for sure. Did we have another voicemail then?
Yeah, got one more here. This one's from our boy Brad.
Hey guys, it's Brad Moneymaker. So I'm just gonna lay it all out on the table. This organization is straight trash from the top to the bottom. Paul DePodesta needs to go. I'm done with this trash of if we do this thing will probably happen with like a 80% tile completion or something like that. Or us always going fourth down when we were supposed to have a good field goal kicker, which that's another thing. Our special teams coach needs gone. Mike Prefer is the worst special teams coach, but probably be back next year for some dumb reason. Kevin Stefanski on the hot seat right now. I'm not waiting until next year. Joe Woods, gone. The whole defensive coordinator's gone. The offensive coordinator, gone. Wide receivers coach, gone. Like, everybody just gone. Probably keeps Kevin Stefanski for some reason. See how he does with Deshaun, but the jury's out. And I am just done with it all. And the defense is a mess. We need players and depth. And the offense just fell apart at the end of the season when Deshaun got in there. And I'm just over it all. And it's really hard to root for this team right now.
Well, Brad, I don't disagree with you. It is every week the Browns lose a game that I think they should have won, which is a lot of times. I just shut down, like, emotionally. I don't know how much longer I can do this. And then by Tuesday and Wednesday, I'm like, well, I'm ready for Sunday. So I guess we're doing this. People say Brad Moneymaker has a funny name. It's his real name, by the way. We asked.
I know. We weren't sure at first.
So also another Dog Pound member, or Dog Pack member. So if you want to hang out with Brad Moneymaker, check us out there. But no, I think we got a clean house. I don't think Stefanski needs to go right now, but he's the first-time head coach. Okay, so let's be patient, and it's very hard to be patient. Trust me, I watch the games and I get irritated too, but give him time. Kyle Shanahan just went over 500 in his coaching career, okay, and he's considered one of the best young coaches in football. Like, I don't want to fire Kevin Stefanski and then his next job is the job where he figures it out. You know what I mean? Like, let's be a little patient. Let's self-evaluate, realize what he needs to change to get the organization going in the right direction. Philip says this is his third year. I get that it's his third year, but that's still not that long in terms of the NFL. You know what I mean? Like, give him just give him a chance. Let's evaluate. Let's say, hey, you do this well. Keep doing this. You need to focus on this. Let's hire a new defensive coordinator. Let's do a special teams coordinator. Let's get another coach in here that has maybe been a head coach who can kind of handle that whole side of the ball. So you could focus on this. focus on running the team more. Philip says, I'm willing to give him one more year with the yes, that's what I'm not saying he's got the decade, but I'm just saying he's finally got his quarterback. We see that Joe Woods isn't the answer. We tried to be patient with Joe Woods and Mike Prefer. We tried to get them their guys, and it's clearly not working. So let's give them a chance to correct that, come back with a new staff, and then go from there. If next year's a dumpster fire and we're eliminated 10 weeks into the season and we're talking about the same things, then yeah, Kevin's probably gone. But I don't want to fire him a year too early, just like I don't want to get rid of Cade York a year too early and that stuff. If we go into this offseason, we don't fire Joe Woods, if we come back next year with the same staff, same everything, I'm going to be very frustrated. Because I don't want to watch. I don't want to watch.
I couldn't agree more with that.
I'd agree. And like, here's the thing. Like, I've been a Browns fan since 1985, since I've been 10 years old, and I saw this guy, Mr. William Belichick, come through Cleveland, and he went 6-10, he went 7-9, and then he went 7-9, and then he went 11-5, and everybody in Cleveland wanted to run him out. Well, we lost our team. But the thing is, I don't know if they would have been patient with him, because he ended up going 5-11 after that for the 5 years, right? Now, there's a lot he couldn't control there. Same thing with Phil Dawson. I don't know if you guys remember this, but somebody showed that he had very similar stats to Cade York right now. But I remember when Phil, he was kicking against Denver or something, and like Mary Kay literally said, he is going to get cut if he has a crap game this game. And he went like 4 for 4. He had some wild stats, and then his career just took off. You got to give these guys some time, you know?
Yeah, it's tough for Browns fans to be patient, because we've been patient for 3 decades, my entire life. But
easy, man.
It feels like, I know the season didn't go the way we wanted it to, but it feels like we're on the cusp. Okay, it feels like we're better now. We're in a better spot now than we were 5 years ago. 5-6 years ago, we went in a 1-31 stretch. Just winning a game was the highlight of a 5-year span. So
it was a Christmas miracle.
Yes. So we're trending in the right direction. It's not going as smoothly as we wanted. It's not going as quickly as we wanted. But I feel like we're on the cusp. If we can just be patient, keep it together, I think we can do good things with Kevin Stefanski and the roster that's put together right now. I want to talk about one more thing from this game before we take a quick commercial break. So this was a game the Browns should have won, in terms of the Saints didn't have Jarvis, didn't have Olave. Their defense was banged up, hasn't been great against the run this year. They're a dome team, okay, who plays half their games in a dome, and they're coming up to Cleveland, where it is supposed to be home field advantage, AFC North, smash mouth football, playing in the cold, playing in the wind. This should have been a walk in the park for the Browns. And instead, the Saints bully us and we lose. And it made me think, of all the times we've had these bad weather games that are supposed to be home field advantage for the Browns, how many have we ever actually won?
We lost to the Raiders. We barely beat the Texans with Deshaun. It was a 10-7 game. I think one time the Texans came to town before Watson, and I think Watt scored a touchdown, blocked a field goal. Like, he was the game, and it was like 0 degrees out. We were supposed to be the team they're from Texas.
Yeah, there's 2 things in football that I think are vastly overrated. Okay, because the Browns have shown me in my life that they're not right. One is that cold, bad weather is home field advantage. It's not, because we've sucked my whole life, and the weather's been shit in Cleveland my whole life. So that's not an advantage in draft picks. The Browns have had top 10 draft picks my entire life, and we've sucked my entire life. So those 2 things I think are just extremely overrated. And then, so I want to ask then, is it time for a dome in Cleveland? And we've talked about this in years past, and we've caught a lot of shit for it. A lot of people have complained. But I think now that we have Deshaun, now that we have Amari Cooper, I think people are kind of slowly changing their tune a little bit. So I wanted to revisit this. What do you guys think in the comments? Is it dome time in Cleveland?
I'm going to say it's 100% dome time, just on my opinion here, because, you ask about the myths of, the cold weather and everything being like home field advantage. I don't think you hear people say like, oh, this is football weather. This isn't football weather. You can't throw a pass. You can't catch a pass. You can't do football things in negative 10-degree weather. It's not football weather. It's no fun for the players. It's no fun to watch it at home. It's no fun to watch it at the game. You see the empty stands. How many of those seats are filled if that's a dome?
That's the thing too. It's home field advantage to what, play in front of an empty stadium? No crowd noise? How's that? Like, you're telling me it's home field advantage, but it was so cold nobody wanted to go to the game. There were tickets for $1.
Yeah.
And
$1.
the Browns, not every player that we draft or sign grew up in Cleveland playing football outside in December with no shirt on. I mean, it's not home field advantage. Deshaun Watson's from the South. It's not an advantage. It's just not an advantage. And I don't know what part of our record for the last 30 years would make you think it's an advantage. Playing in cold weather seems to be the opposite for the Browns. So, yes, please, let's get a dome.
I live 8 hours north of you guys. We shut the damn city down. It's freezing cold. There's nobody. Nobody wanted to go to that game. And I was there last December in the Lions game, and it was like a sleety snow day. It was awful being there. You were chilled to the bone. It wasn't as cold as there, but it was so damp nobody wanted to play. And again, that was another 16-10 game that we eked out, looked awful. Baker got booed off the field, and nobody was happy.
Yeah, it's time. I don't want to hear any more about football weather. Just because you can play football in the cold doesn't make the cold football weather. Like you said, it's ignorant. And when football was invented, nobody threw the ball. The athletes on the field, they had other jobs. They were plumbers during the week, and then they'd come play some football on the weekend. These dudes are training all year at round, are peak athletes. I want to see them do what they train all year to do. I don't want to watch Nick Chubb get the ball and not be able to cut. That's not what I want to watch. I want to watch my team at their best against the other team at their best and see which team wins. I don't need some third factor, affecting the outcome of the game, essentially. So I'm Team Dome. I think we all are. And it seems like the comments, a lot of people are also pro Dome. I do want to address Aaron Butler's talking about the Ravens going to the Super Bowl real quick. I wasn't going to address this, but if you're so high, you think the Ravens are going to the Super Bowl? Good for you, buddy. I want some of that, because the Ravens, I don't care what your record is, because you got to play your fourth place schedule because you finished fourth place last year. Your team's dog shit. You guys suck. You can't score. Your quarterback's going to be playing in Miami next year. And I don't want to hear about how dominant your franchise is, because you were about to fire your coach before they made the switch to Lamar Jackson. So get out of here. Go, stop. You guys had Kyle Bowler as a quarterback at one point, so let's not pretend like every year for the Ravens has just been amazing. So,
but they did get a Super Bowl 10 years ago.
Yeah, I try to tell them they haven't been relevant in the playoffs in a decade. They're starting to sound like Steelers fans.
Yeah,
seriously. So give me a break. All right.
Well, I just remind Aaron Butler that the Browns dominated the league in 1964. The Ravens didn't even exist yet. You were still the Browns.
There you go.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna take a quick 2-minute break. So we can show you guys these super cool ads, and I can blow my nose. And when we get back, we're gonna just do a quick preview for the Commanders game. So make sure you guys stick around.
Listen up, Browns fans. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, is my go-to when betting on the NFL this holiday season. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 on any NFL team to win their game and get $150 in free bets if they do. Check this out. Right now, everyone can earn up to a 100% boost with DraftKings stepped-up same-game parlays. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, place a same-game parlay, and combine multiple bets like which team will win, player props, point totals, and more. The more legs you add, the bigger the boost, the bigger your shot to win big. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use promo code TPPN. Place a $5 bet on any NFL team to win their game and get $150 in free bets if they do. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code TPPN. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. Happy holidays, everyone. Browns fans, time to talk holidays. Christmas is right around the corner, and what are you going to get for that special person in your life? I'll tell you what I've been doing for the last couple years is I've been getting my dad, grandpa, father-in-law, uncles. Everybody gets a nice big package of OMAHA steaks. Like me, you can achieve gifting greatness when you give the gift of perfectly aged, tender, and delicious OMAHA steaks. The steak experts at OMAHA Steaks have put together special curated gift packages to help take the guesswork out of gifting and make you the holiday hero. Go to omahasteaks.com and use code DAWGS, DAWGS at checkout, and get $30 off your order. Send an assortment of mouth-watering favorites guaranteed to impress, like the legendary Butcher's Cut Filet Mignon, air-chilled boneless chicken, ultra-juicy burgers, and even easy-to-prepare comfort meals that are ready in a flash. OMAHA Steaks is ready to ship your order right away, so shop early, beat the shipping rush. Go to omahasteaks.com and use promo code DAWGS, DAWGS, at checkout. I'm telling you guys, personal experience, OMAHA Steaks is a gift from the heart, a gift that will be remembered with every unforgettable bite, and a gift that, maybe you get to partake in too whenever your dad or grandpa or whoever fires up that grill and says, hey, how about we throw on some of these OMAHA Steaks you got me for Christmas? Sounds like a win-win to me. Order with complete confidence today, knowing you're ordering the very best. Visit omahasteaks.com. Use promo code DAWGS at checkout. Get that extra $30 off your order. Minimum order may be required. Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy holidays.
And yes, we could hear Blake blowing his nose.
I thought I'd be muted. I thought producer Josh would have me muted. Guys, I got a sinus infection like 2 weeks ago, and not to get too gross here on the show, I've had more snot come out of my nose, and I didn't even know it was humanly possible to have this much snot. So you guys got to step into my world a little bit there during the commercial break. That's what I've been doing.
Congestion nightmare has been going through our house too, but hey, it's that time of year, I guess. But like that OMAHA Steaks ad was for Christmas, even though Christmas is over, you guys can still order and still get that $30 off. So I just wanted to throw that out there. You don't have to hold off. I'm sure people have birthdays and all kinds of fun stuff coming up too.
There, didn't get the sarcasm.
Lump of coal that the Browns gave us and turn it into a diamond if you get those OMAHA steaks. They look damn good.
All right, so then we're going to shift gears a little bit here. I see a lot of people still talking about the dome. So you guys keep that going in the comments. I think that's going to be a hot topic in the offseason. I don't know what a realistic time frame is to get a dome, in Cleveland. Probably take a few years, but I'd at least like them to get started here. Like it's a for sure thing.
Make the decision.
Yeah. But we want to shift gears here, kind of do a quick little preview of the meaningless Commanders game that we have coming up here. Browns play Washington. Do we know who's going to play quarterback for Washington?
That was an interesting move that they made in the game last week where they pulled Heineke.
So call me crazy. I don't know why they pulled him. He wasn't playing that bad, and San Francisco's defense makes everybody look awful. And he was 13-18, 2 touchdowns. He did have the pick. He had 114 rating and an 84.1 QBR. I didn't understand why they pulled him, but then it doesn't help that Wentz came in and went 12-16, had a touchdown, had a 117 rating. So but then
the thing is, I wasn't watching the game, so I don't know if maybe he wasn't making the passes, in critical moments, third downs. Maybe he wasn't sustaining drives at the right time. I don't know. I don't know what all led to him or to the switch.
A friend of mine's a big-time Niners fan. He was watching the game, and he was surprised. He said he thought he was playing pretty well considering how good the Niners defense is. I know I didn't start him in fantasy. It cost me a chance to go to the championship. So we coming into this game. Go ahead, Kenny.
Oh, I was just going to say he just threw the pick and then all of a sudden he was gone. from what I remember, because we had the game on in the background.
Yeah, I don't get it, and especially because he's got them in the playoffs, and they rattled off a bunch of wins once they went to him. So I was surprised. The team has played better for him, so to see them go back to Carson really shocked me. So I guess we'll see who we're going to play. I don't know if it's official yet. Who would you guys rather face?
I don't think it matters because they have two running backs that are going to handle the game just fine.
Well, I mean, who are those two running backs you think? Because Brian Williams ran the ball 22 times for 58 yards. He had 2.6 yards per carry, and that's kind of been his thing since he's come back from being shot, which is, kind of crazy in itself.
Mm-hmm.
His yards per carry is not great.
No.
What I don't know if we'll score because our offense has really been struggling, and they got a good front seven, and then it doesn't matter who we play in terms of Heineke or Carson, they're both slightly mobile. And they're still playing for something. We're not.
Right. So
I don't know.
The thing with Robinson, to go back to the yards per carry though, because this is what I was thinking, the last 3 games before we play San Francisco, which is it's an elite defense. They stop the run. They stop everything. So he played Atlanta, had 105 yards average, almost 6 yards a carry. The Giants, 96 yards, almost 5 yards a carry. And then the Giants again, 89 yards, over 7 yards a carry. So against bad run defenses, he can rip off some yardage. He's a big bruising back, and we really suck at that.
Turns out we supply the bad run defenses. But no, they got some weapons on the outside. Terry McLaurin's good. Curtis Samuel's good. Logan Thomas, their tight end, is serviceable. Even Antonio Gibson, I think, is better than what they give him credit for. It seems they try to do anything they can to not give him playing time, but then every time he gets on the field, he produces. So I don't understand what's going on with that. And they got a good coach. I think Ron Rivera is a good coach. So what I want to see out of the Browns is, even though the season's done, I feel like you have a lot to play for in terms of pride and trying to get things right heading into the offseason in terms of your offense. I would like to see us score points. Like, let's have a game where the offense looks crisp, Deshaun plays well. Let's put up, 30 points. Let's have a couple touchdown drives. Let's just look efficient on offense, and let's look smart. And let's just not – I don't want to see another 10-point game.
Yeah, well, I'd agree with that too. Go ahead.
I was just going to say real quick, we don't have to worry about weather really factoring into this. I'm looking at it now in the forecast. Looking ahead is partly cloudy, 52 degrees. It should be no rain or anything. So I think it should be a pretty even game as far as the weather's concerned. Thank God.
Yeah, and like they want to get Deshaun Watson rolling. I mean, the guy comes out. I mean, the Ravens game, the weather was okay, and then last week was just drastic. You're not going to expect any kind of incremental movement up in a good game, right? So this would be a great one to get the offensive line on track, start running Chubb. Let's see some of those big plays we were talking about earlier in the program. Let's get our receivers going, maybe even have some receiver depth. So like if maybe a third or a fourth guy shows up this game, you know what I mean? And I think they can do it. I think we handled them last time, which was 2 years ago. It's basically the same defensive line, except they're all a little bit more into the system, right? So if we can kind of capitalize on what we did last time and our offense actually does something, I think we can be okay.
I really do want to see a lot of passing attempts, personally.
Would you be surprised if they shut Nick Chubb down? Where is he at in terms of the rushing title? I feel like he's not still in it, is he?
No. Josh Jacobs, I believe, is leading, or I don't know if I looked at the stats after Monday
third
night.
Right now.
So it was
third.
I think it was Josh Jacobs, then Derrick Henry, then Nick.
Correct.
So I think if he's got a shot, then let him play for it. But if he doesn't, where do you guys stand in terms of shutting him down and preserving him? I want to see Deshaun play. I want to see the line play. I want to see our receivers play because we need to get that chemistry with Deshaun. But Do you risk an injury to Nick Chubb? I mean, if he tears an ACL, now he misses all next year. You know what I mean?
Phillips got a good point. He says he's out of it now unless he went off. I mean, he's almost 200 yards already behind the leader. So
I'll be the devil's advocate on that, and I'll say good luck trying to tell Nick Chubb he's not going to play. I wouldn't tell the guy. He can squat 600 pounds, 3 of me. So I'm not telling him anything.
Andrew Jackson, yes, I am. I'm wearing my gaming headset. Got my little wrong side. I got my little mic here too. But
I would like to see. I wouldn't mind seeing Ford get some carries.
I feel that.
Fresh legs, man. Fresh legs, and he's got skill.
Because you have to think Kareem Hunt's gone. There's no way Kareem Hunt's back, right? So you got to think. Don't get Kareem hurt because, well, I guess we're not trading him, but just let him go be a number one somewhere, and let's just see what we got in Jerome Ford. It just sucks that we got to talk like this because with 2 games left to play. It's just, I think the only thing you're playing for now is just to get some rhythm on the offensive side of the ball. Let Stefanski figure Deshaun out. Let Deshaun figure Stefanski out. But then one more thing I want to talk about. Somebody said they should shut Garrett down too. Garrett and Chubb down. Are you guys nervous at all about the Garrett? I'm not going to call it suspension because of it was only a series, but the fact that he had to be disciplined, he kind of calls out coaches a lot. He had to be disciplined. I don't ever want to blame somebody for a car accident. Accidents happen, but until you find out that the dude has 7 speeding tickets and drives recklessly all the time, he's hit somebody in the helmet in the game and got suspended for a whole year. So it's like at some point there's a pattern. You know what I mean? Like at some point he's supposed to be a leader of the team, but he keeps doing things that make him unavailable to the team. So it's like, does that make you nervous at all? I guess we'll wrap up with this.
I wouldn't say it makes me nervous yet. I don't think anything was – I mean, if you want to compare it to other players at speed, I maybe if it's more than other players, but I don't see that as a thing. There's tons of people who do that. The hitting the guy over the helmet was a Steelers fan, so who cares? And, like at the end of the day, like, I mean – the concerning thing for me is there was the one instance where he got punched in the face by a fan. That was weird. I mean, that might make you turn a little crazy or something. But other than that, I mean, it's just, I don't know, regular guys at my work probably have the same skeletons in their closet. I'm not too worried about it. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I was just curious. Josh, I saw you kind of shaking your head. Yes. What were you thinking?
Yeah, I kind of look at it the other way where you're right. Like he is supposed to be not just a leader the team, but also a face of the franchise. I mean, whenever, ESPN or whoever's advertising for a Browns game that's coming up on Monday night or whatever, what graphic are they putting up? It's either going to be Deshaun Watson or it's going to be Myles Garrett. I mean, maybe Nick Chubb, but I mean, Myles Garrett's one of your premier players on the team. He's paid like it. He was a number 1 overall pick. And you're right. He's done not just 1 or 2 or even 3 things to make you question that leadership ability. It's been constant, just drove of things one after the next. And it's like, is this going to stop or is this just going to keep continuing?
And it stinks we have to talk about this because we talked last week. Like I thought he's putting together a pretty solid stretch of games where he's been playing really well lately. So that's just something to keep an eye on, just something I was curious about. I would consider, if you're not playing for anything, I would also consider not playing him, especially if he's still on the mend from that car accident a little bit. I want next year to be the most pristine, perfect conditions for the Browns. I don't want there to be a single excuse for anybody on the coaching staff or anybody on the team. I don't want us to have a rough patch and somebody to say, well, we didn't have Miles or we didn't have this or we were trying to do. I want to come in next year and it is just playing football. And if we don't win games, changes need to happen because I'm tired of the excuses. I feel like 3 years ago, we had excuses for Joe Woods, so we got him his players, and then he had the excuses. It was all 9 starters, and then Stefanski's got his excuses. He hasn't had his quarterback. It's just, I'm tired. I don't want any more excuses. It's the NFL. Things are hard for everybody. There's teams out there. You know what I mean? There's teams out there who have more wins than us that are in way worse situations than us. I mean, the Steelers.
That's who I was going to say.
You know what I mean? The Steelers are still fighting for a playoff spot. They suck. We beat them early in the year. They're not that good of a team, but they figure out ways to win, and we figure out ways to lose. And I'm done with that. I want no more excuses. Get ready for next year and come out next year ready to play. And if not, blow it up, because I'm tired. I'm tired of potential is nothing to me. Okay, it's nothing. I want to see it happen on the field. But I think we're coming right up on the hour mark, which is what we wanted to aim for this live. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this thing up. We appreciate everybody who's here with us, keeping the comment section alive. It's a lot more fun having all your guys' interaction in the comment section. So thank you again for being here. Today on the After Hours show, we're going to be talking about I think it was a Rizzo article about the role DePodesta plays in the organization, top to bottom, how much influence he really has. Plus, we're going to talk about the Tua concussion situation and what the league thinks about it. So I think it's going to be a really cool After Hours episode today. So if you're interested in that, make sure you head to jointhedawgs.com, become an official Dog Pack member so you can check out that episode. We aren't going to do another episode this week, so we won't see you guys again until next year. Haha, dad joke for you guys. Again, thank you guys for being here. We hope you guys had a great Christmas, and we hope you guys have an even better New Year. And we'll catch you guys all next week.